the property maintenance is landlord-owned dwellings that they're renting. The dilapidated buildings like the Afton Inn back here is like other homes that are sitting around next to people's houses that they're living in, that the landlords don't even care if it's still standing or not, and it's just falling apart, and we need to take action on those. So that's kind of separate from the property maintenance.
So we would have to adopt the maintenance code, not the rental inspection program, but adopt the maintenance code, and then if we got authority, such as like the city of Winchester, that would just be something different than the maintenance code
Yes.
itself.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
generally it's the power of what to condemn.
Yeah, in one way.
That's what I was trying to understand, is
One
what
way
Tom
we
said.
can do it, and I'll get you all some information. You may not want to do it, but one way the town can do it, I think, I haven't researched it real thoroughly, but we can set up an authority. And actually, the authority, which is insulated from liability from the town, actually has the authority. The authority has the authority to condemn houses that are not worth anything, and tear them down and remove them. You can have a vacant lot and sell the lot. But I'll get you that information, because right now I'm not an expert on it.
Okay.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, if we get this thing changed to Delaware College, we wouldn't even need that anyway.
Probably
Be the
not.
third-
but,
third
So they would already
that's what I was
have the
saying.
right to
But
do it.
Yeah, I'll need to get you that information.
So you can have a building that people are renting that looks fine on the outside, that definitely doesn't cross that threshold for condemnation exterior, but is just an awful living condition on the interior. And it's that sort of thing that the property maintenance code is trying to fight against right now. So they are targeting two different issues.
I mean, I thought it was great that Chris showed up tonight, and
Everybody knew it, did you?
How do we manage that?
Joe, somebody requested he come? Or did
No,
he
I
just
think it
show
was
it?
just a result of my letter that I
Okay,
sent him.
yes, you did send, okay. Yeah,
And-
great.
And when I reached out to him, I told him we were having a work session tonight to discuss the issue. I didn't ask him specifically to come, but I said we would be delighted at any time we were discussing these issues at a work session. We'd be delighted to have him.
You know,
or any of the other
him
ones.
sitting at our table, listening and getting a good feel from the vibrations of the other council members, that we definitely need his help. I think he'll truly try to help us as much as we can, as long as we stay on the timeline and getting everything processed and getting it back into Richmond's hands on time.
Right, that's the key.
And
getting
into
it
their,
there.
because I guess they have committees they send things to, and they weed through this stuff, and some stuff they may just put a okay rubber stamp on it, and then some things they need to discuss a little bit further, so.
Well, to that point, Doug, when you finally get a chance, would get your head above water a little bit, would you be able to, at some point in time, give us a proposed timeline of what that looks like, or what you're proposing to get to Delegate Collins? Because what I'm thinking is, if he's going to send it to another committee,
Mhm.
and if anything comes back that they want changed, then it's going to go back to him, it's going to come back to us, and vice versa. We're going to want plenty of time to be able to do that before
I don't
January.
think it's going
Now,
to
we're
come back
talking
to
about,
us.
what are we talking
Just
about,
be
two
gone.
different items?
Just say no.
They can change whatever they want at that level and pass it. They don't really need to come back to us. It's
Talking
one
about
of the
Richmond, you know, that's.
disadvantages
I know,
of our
we're talking about
system.
property maintenance code, but what I'm talking about
They could
is
say
to
no.
give us the same power.
It's
as
the
the
city
city.
said, yeah,
Very simple,
real simple.
give us the same power.
That's Richmond you're talking about,
Then,
Gene.
if we come, yeah, and then if we gotta come back and do the property maintenance code, and that brings up the whole second issue to get them to approve whatever we need on the property maintenance issue.
All right, well, let's move on into discussion of charter revisions. Town Attorney, Doug? Gene, I think this is kind of like a lot of things that you had on your plate that you wanted to present tonight, too.
They are, but again, I looked through this, and I didn't see it. I'd like to have a single sheet or a page or two, whatever they are, so that we can actually look at the page and say, we'd like to change this, instead of striking through them and then rewriting certain things. That's hard to read on an iPad. Can we get a list of all these things that we talked about it previously, back a year or two ago, that
Is
we
there a
wanted to
list?
send to them? Pardon?
Is there a list?
Yeah,
There's a list right here.
There was a
Okay.
list.
I-
But I mean, are they simplified? I want a simplified list, not a, I mean, we got about 80, 90 pages here that we gotta sit through.
Well, what I tried to do, in the letter I sent to our representatives in the General Assembly, it was a 2-page, which is about as close, condensed a list as I can get it.
Is that in here?
Yeah,
Well, I didn't see it. I'm sorry, I missed it.
yeah, that condensed it down.
Where's it at the end, at the beginning? I must
Let's
have
see,
zipped
it's-
through it too quick.
It's, if you look at the agenda cover sheet, it's the next thing behind it, it's dated November 30th, 2012, and it's a 2-page.
What number? What
Sure,
page
11.
number?
It's on page, it's the number 4.
43,
43?
page 43, is what he's referencing.
Is on 43?
Well, yeah, if you, on the first page of the agenda, if you look at item number 4, and click on that, and then the agenda's cover sheet is 2 pages, and then it's the 3rd page, I'm sorry, the 4th page, it's a 2-page letter to the 3 delegates and our state senator, and then it's a 2-page letter. And it's got the major items that we're asking for.
Is that on page 47?
Like I said, I haven't found it yet.
Well, here,
Well, I mean, just, what page is it on?
There you go, Jake, help an old man out there.
I see the letter.
I think what Doug is referring to is this one
I
here.
don't know, I don't see
There you
any
go.
page numbers.
He's numbering them 1, 2,
I saw it.
On our
4,
agenda.
5. But I think
Yeah,
that's what
okay.
he's doing, is outlining them.
All right.
That was my understanding of it.
Well, you know, again, we need to, there's more in there than just these 10, if this is what we got. I mean, there's a lot of things in there that we need to look at.
What do you ask for, Gene? Something like a printout? of
Yeah, I'd
all
like to have
the
something, because, you know, I went through the charter, not lately, but the other year when we started this thing, and, I mean, there's codes in there that, like I said, dates back to 1937. And if we're gonna make a change, I'd like to see us make a complete
Okay,
change and get it
complete sweep.
completely updated to the present day, instead of just having 12 items here that we have on these 2 sheets.
How do you
because
suggest that we get to that?
I don't know. I mean, I would say
Doug, you
that we
have any
need to go through the
suggestions?
charter and get the changes that needs to be done. I know it's a lot of work, but if we're gonna make a charter change, let's do it the right way.
Are you just talking about kind of surface level, catching all the things that don't make sense in today's
Yeah,
time that need to be
sure,
changed?
yeah,
Not
things that-
necessarily the 12 point or 11 points that are outlined here.
Right.
Well,
The reason I say that, you know, the other year when we had all the problem with the tarot card readers,
Yeah.
and that was the biggest issue for months. And we tried to make something right to today's standard, and it became a nightmare. And that's why these are the things I want to see us go through the charter. And if there's any other of these little things in there that are way outdated, then I want to see all of these changed at one time, not just these few things that we have here. Because to change a charter and not bring it up to the date, like the pigs or whatever, and if you go back and read, you can't sell coal on Sunday, you can't do this on Saturday, and you can't do that on Monday.
On
and
Blue Sunday?
These are the things that I like to see us, we're gonna change. Let's change a charter that brings us to today, not what had happened 100 years ago.
well, what I
Doug, what can
did,
you help us out on this with?
well, what I did, if I may, I went through the entire charter and I made all the changes that I saw that needed to be changed. And then I said, if anybody sees anything else, let me know and I'll change it. But I did that.
Okay, good. Can
Now,
we have a hard
this
copy of it?
is this
Yeah.
just these 2 pages or the reflection that you found?
No, it's here, it's attached. I did it all.
He's got the whole charter with all
Got
the
the
It's
whole
all lined out,
elevations.
changed.
Yeah, but is it in a form that we can see it other than stricken through and new items placed in there? That's the problem. I mean, when you try to read 100 pages of the charter in this small cane, I mean, you get lost in the shuffle. That's why I'm saying that we need to give us a printout or something that you can at least have a hard copy maybe of the changes that needs to be done.
I mean, Doug, it looks like pretty much every paragraph had something changed from
Yeah,
it.
something
right?
on every page seems
I
to
mean, it
have.
looks like every paragraph has at least something added or deleted or.
Well, it did. I mean, if I can, I'll do it any
I
way you
mean,
want.
well, again, I mean, if you feel you've done all you can do, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I just want to make sure that we're changing it to the point where we don't have to go back in another 2 or 3 years and redo items that we missed or didn't make the changes properly in it. That's, I just want to make sure we got everything done the right way.
I went through it and made all the changes I could find. I mean, if somebody sees something I missed, I'll be glad to do it. That's why there were so many changes, is because it was so old. I mean, it's almost 100 years old. And
I know,
there were a
I
lot
know.
of changes.
Probably went to bed reading all that stuff.
I mean, I just literally spent hundreds of hours on this thing.
Well, I read it 2 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer, the whole charter, and it was a massive amount of changes that should have been made.
Yeah.
Now, if you say you've done that, that's fine.
I think, let's move forward, because he's made a lot of changes. Let's move forward with that, get all that changed, and if we have to, we'll come back next year and clean up if there's anything else left that needs to be cleaned up.
Well, so the 11 bullet points that were in the first 2 pages, are those the main ones up for discussion?
Yeah, the ones in that letter that I wrote to the
Correct.
delegates, those were the big ones that council was talking about
Okay.
the last go around.
Right, that was the one that we didn't get anything done with.
Mhm.
Right, I understand that part.
I think sounds good, just we'll
Yeah.
concentrate on this, get these forwarded, and then next year, if we have to clean up, we'll relook at it. There's always something that you're gonna miss, you're not gonna catch it all.
Well, let me ask you this. When we send this to Delegate Collins, what are we gonna send him? These 11 bullet points? Are we gonna send them our charter with all the lines that's stricken through and some things are rewritten? But what are we gonna send him? Because he's not gonna know, he's gonna be dumb as I am in these things, because he's not gonna know unless we send him a complete charter and say, these are the changes. You can't
Well,
just,
yes, it'll change.
the 11 bullet points is fine, but that doesn't get rid of all the other stuff in there.
Well, what I sent him before was, I sent him the letter, I sent him my proposed changes, I sent him a clean copy of what we've got and a clean copy of what I thought the charter should look like after it's cleaned up.
After all the changes with these 11 plus all the others.
Right. So my
Okay, that's what I'm
understanding is the
asking.
way they work is they send it to their aides,
Right.
who are the ones that actually get in the weeds with this stuff. So, I've already done most of the work for them. They're gonna do their own tweaking,
Well, sure, I understand.
but, if somebody's got a better way to do it, I'll be glad. I don't know
No,
how
I
else
think
to
it's a
do
very
it.
good way, Doug. You've done fine.
I
gave
think
them
you've
the-
done fine, too.
You've given them the hard copy revised, and you gave them the cleanse. And that's the way it's handled. So you did exactly right. Gene, that's all he's saying. You gave him the hard copy, lined out as you've got there, and he gave him the cleanse.
I know you just said that because I heard it. But before that, I didn't know that. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I heard it before.
Well, I didn't. Not tonight. I might have heard somewhere else, but it didn't say it tonight. I just want to make sure that with these 11 bullet points and all the rest of it is clean.
Let's move forward with that, and let's keep our fingers crossed, and invite Delegate back another day, and maybe Chris will come back and talk to us and see what else we need.
Well, I stay the stickler that I am for schedules and meeting dates. So we got to clearly understand what those dates are. I think Jake said it as well. So, that's got to be well out in front of us.
Yeah, the way I see it, we should have everything we want in our representatives' hands by November the 20th. They've got as he said, kind of a drop dead date in January. That's way too late. We should have it to
Should
them.
we be shooting for September-ish?
I think.
If you shoot for September-ish, we ran into that problem before. We got in a pickle when we outdated ourselves and we weren't able to get it there in time, and it just vanished.
I think if you get it to them by the middle of October, so they can do their politicking between each other, you're okay.
Because the delegate starts back October, the end of October, when?
I think it's.
So they can go back to work.
I think it's November, about the 1st of November.
Yeah, but we need to get it in Mr. Collins's hands so that he can prepare and, okay.
Usually they have a lot of horse trading they want to do, and, you know, the earlier we get it to them within reason, I think
Please,
the better
please
we
try
are.
to get it to them as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And I know you will.
The other thing is, you know, we're gonna be filling a vacancy. I don't know if you wanna get that person's input on this, or you just want to proceed?
I think we'll move forward today with what we have today.
Okay.
Like I say, next year we can clean up if we have to.
Calls, I mean, these 11 mandates, these are things that we discuss. Like unfunded mandates, that's not a charter issue. That's a legislative issue. That's a number 4. Transportation funding, that's also not a charter change. That's a legislative period. I mean, a lot of these things we got in these 11 bullet points are not charter changes.
Those
They're
11
just-
points were part of the VML presentation.
Yeah, they're asking, we're just asking them to consider some of these things for us in general
Put it in our
terms.
charter, yeah.
But it's not part of our charter change. Now, there's some of them are, I mean, at least it looks to me like, but when you go to the dilapidated building, number 11, what we discussed, and the other things, when you go back, workman's comp, that's not part of a charter. Plastic micro beads are not a part of a charter change. Asset forfeiture is not. We just requesting them to keep it on their agenda so that we can get our funding from those things. So theoretically, looks to me like we're talking about two different issues here. Are we going to send them these
Well,
as
if you're
part
reading that, it is
of a
two
re-
different issues.
Well, it's not a charter issue. It's a request for them to reconsider these things through the General Assembly. It's not considered a charter change, am I right, Doug?
That's right. Those were the things that you all had asked Delegate Collins to consider in representing the
Endorse.
town. Yes.
Right, okay, well, see, there's a difference there. If we're gonna talk about endorsements, I agree. If we're gonna talk about a charter change, is an entirely different issue.
But what do we have in there for charter change?
That's in the letter.
That's in the
Yeah,
letter.
I understand that, but tonight, when we're talking, I want everybody to realize that these are not charter things, these 11 bullet
Yeah,
points.
these 11 are not, they're just.
These are just requests that they continue to fund these things, or let us do it ourselves, or whatever the other way we can do it.
All right, well, let's.
I'm hoping that's what I want everybody to understand,
Hey, Gene.
because it's very important.
I clearly understand it. I can clearly see it. I see what he's doing.
Well, I do too, but
It's
it's not a
clearly
charter
there.
change, and that's what I'm trying to get.
Doug, will
across.
30 days give you plenty of time to kind of get us a little presentation so that we can see all the changes that need to be made and the presentation that you're going to give Chris. Joe, let's, by 30 days from now, let's bring it back to the work session. And we can include both, you know, with the charter changes and these 11 requests.
Okay,
Yeah.
like I said, I just want to make sure we're talking about oranges today,
No
apple and
problem.
oranges, because they're two entirely different things.
Oh, yeah, these are very important issues that we need to address, absolutely. If we're going to send something to Richmond, let's send them a good package. Clear package, that's. Got everything you need, Doug, from us?
So
You're not confused like me?
I'll do the best I can.
You got